Welcome to a very special episode of It Came From My Side Laundry Room. And if you can't tell by now, we're going to talk about Big Red. That's right, Hellboy. So, stick around. Welcome back to It Came From My Side of the Laundry Room. And like I said, this episode is devoted all to Hellboy. So we're going to take a look at a lot of my memorabilia and collectibles that I've obtained over the years. And to be honest, Hellboy has been on a meteoric rise ever since his inception into the Dark Horse universe. This is definitely something that the collecting got out of my grasp. And I don't mean that I spent a lot of money. I mean it has gone to the level of too much money, and I kind of had to abandon it because, believe me, there are some real nice items out there, statues and props and just beautiful stuff. But when you're looking at a statue for $400, yeah, I just can't swing that. So a lot of the items I have are from the mid to late 90s and early 2000s. So I'm not going to show everything that I have because I got to save that for a rainy day for the show. But we'll go over a couple of the earlier things and one or two newer things. I love this hat for Halloween, but let's go for something a little bit more apropos today. Now, this is one of the first things I remember them soliciting in Dark Horse Comics. And at that time, it was this and like the graffiti t-shirts were like the only things you could get. And comic book t-shirts back then weren't anything like they are nowadays. I mean, graffiti was better than most, but I mean, a lot of it was one color on white t-shirts. But this was something special that I just had to get. So I've had this since, shoot, mid 90s. I can't even venture a guess anymore. But this is probably one of the oldest things I have Hellboy related. So let's jump in with something here. Now I have a pile of stuff here, so I'm just going to start grabbing and we'll talk about it. This item I love, and this was a Christmas ornament sold through Dark Horse, and maybe Bowen Designs did it. But I just love the Cthulhu-esque tentacle wrapped around him, which is a Mignola mainstay in a lot of his artwork of Hellboy. I hope this is coming out. It looks dark on my screen, but I hope you're all getting it. But it's a nice bust. It originally had a little thing here for you to put your Christmas tree hook on, but I unscrewed it out because, I mean, Christmas is cool and all, but this guy needs to be displayed all year long. And most of these items are in a corner up here where you usually can't see. I have a lot of my Hellboy stuff, including the Right Hand of Doom here. This actually was a later thing that I got when the movie came out. They had a prop for a couple years that was very expensive, but I happened upon this guy at a Spirit of Halloween the day after Halloween, so it was half price and it was kismet. I just had to get it. I mean, it's pretty decent. It's very light, of course, but it's a great display piece nonetheless. Speaking of the right hand of doom, this piece is one that an artist friend of mine made for me. He used some super sculpty, I guess, and painted it. And one of the things at the time, in 2002, when he did this, we didn't really know what Hellboy's hand open looked like. So that's one of the things that enticed him as an artist to sculpt this. Oh, it looks like he's grabbing me. Ah! Ah! But one of a kind, means very much to me. The artist's name is Matt Plog, if you'd ever heard of him. I mean, he does a lot of work for Battletech, does freelance comic book stuff here and there, but works primarily in the role-playing game art biz. But he would do cool things like this at Christmas time for his buddies, and yeah, this means a lot to me. Always up on the shelf as well, next to the big one. The big fist, that is. That sounded bad too. The big right hand of doom. Anyway, next, going back to the Christmas ornament, thinking it was a Bowen Designs, this was a magnet they released. And it's based on the actual bust that came out by Bowen, which at the time I didn't have the money. Of course, now it's super expensive to try to get. So this was the next best thing for me at the time to get, because I wasn't getting the bust. And back then they were such limited numbers. It's like if you didn't order it right out of the previews catalog, you weren't going to get it. At least around my neck of the woods. So we'll take this out here. This is a magnet, and granted, I ain't never going to hang this anywhere because I would have fear of it falling. But nice relief sculpture. Has nice depth, great detail. But this is one of another early thing when there weren't that many opportunities to get Hellboy stuff. See, this says 1997 on it. Look at this great side art there with the Magnolia skulls. So let's put this back in there. Another early thing that came out, as I was talking about graffiti designs, they branched out into action figures. No, I don't want this to be cockeyed. I'm not a hipster. But they branched out into action figures. And at the time, I think it was Grendel, Jay, Silent Bob, and Hellboy. Now, I got the limited edition one that came with his t-shirt and trench coat. And here he's holding Excalibur. I mean, it's a great interpretation of the artwork. You can see the jacket is ripped off like how he was portrayed, and this one rolled up of his duster here. Has a real nice tail on it. But sadly, it has to be somewhere. But I'm missing the Torch of Liberty's gun. Like I said, it's got to be somewhere. It's probably in the bottom of one of my boxes here. But boy, do I feel like a real a-hole for losing it. Clobbering time. Oops, sorry, different character. But look, it even has his little bun here. And when this came out, I mean, this came out in 2000 actually, so we did have a great deal of comic book action figures out on the market, but something this big and of a independent character, I mean, that's a rarity to. So I just had to snatch him up. And the graffiti packages were beautiful at the time. I wish I still had it. But I mean, he's fully posable. And eagle-eyed viewers will notice that he sits on the shelf over there when I face the camera this way. But yeah, I don't have the heart to ever put him away. He always has to be on display. And while we're talking about action figures, here's one that came out during the time of the second movie, I believe. The year on this is 2005. Not really sure, but 5 years later, Mezco made this Hellboy figure. And I don't know if all the detail will come across, but it has like the pockmarky detailing that Mignola puts in his art. It has his tremendously big back, smaller arms, a great right-handed Doom here, and Torch of Liberty's gun, thankfully, but his belt. One of the things, and even in some of the novels they talk about, is how he is always prepared with different things. I mean, he's got an iron horseshoe to go against fairies and goblins, a cross, and you can just imagine, because of how great the detail is, of all the other wonderful things that are probably in these pouches. Of course you have to use your imagination, but he's a lot more posable. Got the upper torso, waist, knees, sideways moving of the thighs. The tail's actually posable, and it's great because you can set it out and it helps him stand. But he has cloven hooves. So's the other one, mind you. They're just not as detailed. You can see the difference here, I think. Trying to. There we go. Whoa, whoa. Ah! Sorry, technical difficulties. But, I mean, the graffiti design one is a lot bigger and bulkier. But the detailing on this one is insane. Now, I was lucky enough to get a few of the figures in the Mezco line. They, locally for me, only appeared at Spencer's Gifts. And by the time I even knew they existed, I was too late to pick up some of the other characters. Like, I'm missing Abe Sapien. Sorry, I'm forgetting his name, but the doctor or professor that had the like cybernetic gorilla. But I did get a couple of them. But the one I really love so much is Roger the Homonocles. He's got this awesome BPRD vest on. And, I mean, he even has the cod piece there, for lack of a better term. And his little thing lifts up here. I wish there was like an action feature where you could get it to spark where his like internal flame is. But I love this character. I mean, one of the times I have wept in a comic was when Roger met his fate because he sacrificed himself in the I want to say the Almost Colossus story. I might be wrong there. It might have been later. But I love the character and I love this figure. And like with the Hellboy, I mean, there's details that only comes from Mignola artwork in that face. And it's kind of cool with the camera. I'm looking at it, how the shadows cast on his face, a lot like how Mignola shades his artwork. But yeah, great figure. Another early thing, and this is done by a Japanese artist, designed this. It came out in 2001, but it's this vinyl statue. And it's way too big. Here, I'll pull it back here. But Hellboy's punching like an Oni giant right in the face as the base. Stepping on his tongue here. Punching him right in the eye. But full of action. As you can tell, he's diving down fist first into this dude's face. Again, he's got different pouches going around. He's missing the Torch of Liberty's gun, so hey, I don't feel that bad. But it seems like he's in the middle of, we'll say, demoning out here, as one of his horns is grown, and I'm sure he snapped off the other one. That's the one thing I wish this had a way to take off his other horn, because I kind of find it distracting. I wish both of them were the sawed off stumps. But great detail, very light because it's vinyl. It still was a little bit pricey, but probably a lot cheaper being vinyl than if it was whatever they cast the busts and stuff in. Look at that. Even shows his pants are custom made for his tail. And I doubt you can see this detail from where you are, but there's even a tag on the inside of his jacket here. Just real world touches to it. Makes it living, breathing, in my opinion. But great cloven hooves. Always has a place up on my shelf because of how beautiful it is. And it came with a poster that I have with my Hellboy comics that folds out. That is the original Japanese artwork for the statue. Now, some of the other early things that I was able to get, so I try to grab them all here, are these little PVC standees. Here's the Hellboy, based a lot on Mignola's artwork, of course. That's one thing you gotta give Dark Horse credit for. These came out in 2001, but they were very true to Hellboy, his creator, and his style. So there's Hellboy. Here's Abe. And while we're all here talking about Hellboy, I have to say I'm very excited for the new movie. Now, I love Guillermo del Toro. I love Ron Perlman. But there were things in those movies that really bugged the crud out of me. I mean, they were fun movies, but when I sat back as a fan, yeah, there were things that I didn't dig. I thought the second movie was a lot better than the first. Here's Baba Yaga. And her pedestal. She has her mortar. She has her wooden legs. Missing an eye. But, I mean, just as one telltale thing about the second movie that I despised was Liz being pregnant. And, well, him and Liz having a love affair at all was kind of laughable. But here's a Kate Corrigan standee. Lobster Johnson. And I have his action figure as well. Another great one, but we'll save that for another day. Here's Rasputin. And with the blue flame here, it's like it's taken right off the cover of one of the Seeds of Destruction or Conquering Worm. I can't remember which off the top of my head, unfortunately. It's horrible hitting middle age. You forget all the good stuff. And then here's a demon that seemed to leap right off of the page. I mean, this symbolizes Mignola's artwork perfectly. Now, the two biggest things in my collection that I'm very proud that I own, and I'm sure they're rare, but I'm just happy to have them. I don't, excuse me for playing with my hat, I just look at it in the camera and I don't want it to look all hipster here. But I can't find a year on this, but it was one of the early things that you could purchase, and it's a watch. There are only 2,000 of them made worldwide. Comes with this metal certificate of authenticity. I mean, it's metal, so that's pretty cool. But we could see that there, let me just take it out then to be safe. But I've never worn it. I actually surprisingly got it from my parents, which shocks the crap out of me when I think about that, because they weren't one to ever do anything that extravagant, especially at Christmas time. But even says limited edition on the face. They want you to know how rare this beauty is. And it's number 909 out of 2000. Water resistant. Who would wear this? I mean, it's too special. Or I'm just too much of a klutz and I think about wearing things like this and how the million ways I could break it or lose it or any number of horrible fates that could befall it. But stays here in the box up on my shelf. But I'd have to say '97-ish, if I'm remembering my timeline right. Oh, gotta put the certificate back in there, the metal card, which that's just a neat touch. Something else I forgot, and it's not like super duper rare like the next piece I'm gonna pull out here, but remember when these were all the rage? Metal lunch boxes of everything. See if I can find a date on this. 1999. But great artwork there. 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 And there. This is... oh, in here. But this is one of those things where they instantly were trying to cash in on our budding nostalgia of people our age and a few years older, of having actual metal lunch boxes when we went to school. Again, this is always something on display, and there's Rasputin. Let's just set that there next to the jack-o'-lantern. Now this one is very big, and hopefully I can muscle it over here. but it's a big wooden box. With this on the lid. Let me take the lid off so see it a little bit better. You got the Right Hand of Doom logo with the crown of hell, the angel wings. Great artwork. Great carving. But inside this awesome box is the Hellboy Ouija board. Great artwork on it. Great gold leaf painting, which sadly looks to have some age on it. Maybe they did that on purpose, because I do not open this often because I want it to stay pristine. Inside here you have your instructions, from 2004. Place the talking board. Sorry, it's not a Ouija board because I think Hasbro or whomever owns the rights to that. So it's a talking board. And what else do we have in here? We got this awesome piece of artwork here from the story Heads, I believe it was called. Certificate of Authenticity, actually signed by Mr. Mignola. Only 500 of them made. Dark Horse Deluxe. Hellboy Talking Board, Hardwood Box Limited Edition. 476 out of 500. Maybe one future Halloween episode many years from now, if I'm still doing this show. Maybe we'll try the old talking board. But the planchette comes in this cool red bag, but of course it's Hellboy, it has to be red. And this also has some artwork on it. I don't know if you can see or if it's too dark there. If I turn it towards the light there, you can see it's another fist design with some ribbon going around it, and then the crown of hell up there at the top. Oh, is this awesome? Oh, it says yes. So the spirits know that this is an awesome piece of memorabilia. I absolutely love it. Good friend that I hadn't had contact with for many years, on a whim got it for me as a late birthday present for all the birthdays he's missed. So it's special for that in itself. And yeah, very generous fellow, very good guy. But yeah, that's that. And that's all the Hellboy stuff I'm going to be bringing you today. So, excuse me as I go put this stuff back on the shelf immaculately and protect it for future generations to enjoy. But until next time, this has been It Came From My Side of the Laundry Room. Until next time, keep being rad, stay dorky, and I'll see ya. Thank you for watching this episode presented by My Side of the Laundry Room. Please check out some of these other recommended videos, and if you enjoyed what you've watched, please hit the subscribe button. You can also follow on Twitter, like on Facebook, and read up on My Side of the Laundry Room at our blog. Thanks for watching. Until next time, keep being rad and stay dorky.